Hey everybody, we are back with another Cabral House Call. If you want to tune into today's questions, see what people actually wrote, head on over to stephencabral.com/2802. And if you haven't already picked up your free copy of The Rain Barrel Effect, my book, I would love for you to do so. Now that it's in its 5th year, I want to make sure that people are getting it any way they can. We're shipping it. Literally, you just pay for the shipping. We pay to print the book. And that's how hopefully we're going to get it to more and more people. You can find that at stephencabral.com as you're checking over today's show notes. All right, let's head into the first question. If you're new to the show, we answer all things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, longevity, et cetera, on the show. And I've been doing this now for about 7 years, at least 7 years, right around there, each and every weekend. So we try to get to about somewhere between 10 and 12 questions, usually around a dozen questions every single weekend. And if you want to get yours answered, best thing to do is write in at cabralsupportgroup.com, because you can get your question answered essentially same day, or you can search at stephencabral.com/podcast, because we have done now, 2,782. And then the last way, which takes a little bit longer, 10 to 12 weeks for me to answer it like I'm doing right now on a podcast, but you're welcome to do that at stephencabral.com/ask Cabral. All right, let's get into Darren's question, who's up first today. Good day, Dr. Cabral. I appreciate all that you're doing, but TS making a difference. Oh, it's making a difference in so many people's lives. Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. Like a really huge difference. My question has to do with Bluetooth earbuds or wireless headphones. I know you harp on the dangers of using earbuds due to EMFs that may pass through the brain, but is the danger still present if someone uses only one side while leaving the other bud in the case? That's what I've been doing since you talked about it, thinking it'll minimize the risk, because I didn't just want to throw them out. But if you say it's also harmful, I would now. Keep up the great work. Yeah, Darren, it's a tough one. It really is. I mean, I want to use wireless earbuds as much as anybody. I really do. It would make my workouts so much easier. It'd make all my calls so much easier. When I'm weight training, I literally have to contend with a wire that's in front of my body. Sometimes I tuck it through my shirt, but then I'm like sweating on the wire. And it's like not ideal, you know? So I get it. I understand it. Okay. So let me just give you the difference. There's radiation. Not dissimilar to microwave-based radiation when you use two earbuds. One is being signaled through your brain to get to the other one. That's how they link up. I have a whole podcast on this. If you want to find it, you can just go to stephencabral.com/podcast and just type in earpods or earbuds and you'll be able to find it. And again, if not, we'll find it for you at cabralsupportgroup.com. Just ask. Okay. So if you only use one, then yes, you don't have that same level of transmission. However, it is inside of your ear canal still. What they found is that keeping a cell phone even 1 inch from your head, so much less radiation. A half an inch from your head, still less radiation. Touching your head, that's when they found that can cause cancerous tumors in the brain. So not ideal. Now think about this. An earbud is now inside of your ear canal. So it's actually inside of part of the skull of your head. So it's even closer. And I don't say this to scare anybody. Like that's not my goal. But I also don't think that we can overlook it, that this is a problem. Now, are the same levels of radiation as your cell phone itself, which is the receiving unit, and then it's beaming to your ear? No, I don't think that it is. It's much worse in the phone itself, but I don't think that there's no risk by putting that ear pod or earbud inside of your ear. So that's the best I can do for you, is to say that, and then I'll let you decide what is best for you. Okay. And again, I always have to give you my disclaimer. I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis on any podcast. All right. Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've been dealing with some double vision issues for a few years now. My recent MRI shows no obvious link. My ophthalmologist is blaming hormones or thyroid, even though my numbers haven't changed in years. I did notice that when I consistently use CBD or THC in a microdose, the double vision would almost resolve. Currently, I'm pregnant, so I can't use this. The double vision is not pregnancy related and happens when I am or am not pregnant. Do you have any idea on what it could mean for the cause of the double vision, or what could help this symptom in the meantime? Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and caring enough to spread it. Thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate you. Okay. So yes, before you even talked about CBD or THC, already the thoughts swirl in my head, and I believe that it is most likely stress-induced. a lack of magnesium or higher levels of cortisol, causing the strain on the autonomic nervous system, the nervous system itself, which can create inflammation in the capillaries and constrain the vision. That is very common, like very common. Sometimes it can lead to floaters. It can lead to eye strain. It can lead to double vision. So stress. Okay. Now, why would CBD help? Okay. CBD may help because it does what? Well, the cannabinoids, tetrahydrocannabinoids, THC, or cannabinoids, CBD, bind to the actual CBD receptors in our brain. Believe it or not, we actually have receptors made for cannabis, right? That doesn't mean I'm saying go out there and, take 5 milligrams of THC and 50 milligrams or 200 milligrams of CBD. I'm not saying that, but it works, right? I'm not saying that that doesn't work either. So how can you use a product, even if you didn't want to use CBD or THC, especially if pregnant? Well, you could look losing magnesium. Again, can't give you any medical advice. Magnesium. Can't use Adrenal Soothe because the herbs in there while pregnant, but Adrenal Soothe would be a great one. Meditation, calming the body, working on stress, and that could be very, very helpful. So I would look towards that at first. All right. And I just want to give a quick one. I have a podcast on floaters, but a lot of times when we're stressed, we pull calcium in the bloodstream. Calcium can actually begin to cause some of those floaters as well. Again, part of the antidote is magnesium. Anonymous is up next. And if you want to see the magnesium we use in our practice, it's called Calming Magnesium, or another one in capsules is called Full Spectrum Magnesium. That can be found at stephencabral.com/shop. All the products we use are there. All right. Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm not sure this is something you would want to broadcast, but I wanted to ask if there's anything you can recommend for Peyronie's or curvature due to fibrosis due to an injury. I've been taking serapeptase on and off, but it doesn't seem to help. My urologist prescribed me a medication that increases blood flow, but I'd rather explore options outside of pharmaceuticals. Thank you for your help. Okay, so happy to help with this. This is not something that we see a lot in our practice, but essentially it's scar tissue that develops on the penis and it can cause painful erections. And so on this podcast, again, we're here to help all people. Like that's the goal. And even if it's something more rare, then we can simply talk about this. And you said it was due to an injury, which is oftentimes how this does happen. So there's a few different enzymes that I want to talk with you about. Serapeptase is one of those. We have a product called proteolytic enzymes. We don't name our products usually too fancy. We call it what it is, proteolytic enzymes, which is nattokinase and serapeptase. Typically, you need a higher dose, right? You need like 3 to 6 capsules a day on an empty stomach. And if you want good clinical effects. Another one can be lumbrokinase. We don't use that as often because we like using the serapeptase and the nattokinase for cardiovascular issues, vascular issues in general, kind of cysts and things of that nature, again, without providing any medical treatments. So there's a few things that we would look at, and we would look at how do we break down scar tissue? Well, we just gave you some of the enzymes right there. Intermittent fasting can help in and of itself, and then potentially using certain things like castor oil directly applied may be beneficial. All right. So I wish I had more help for you, but at least it's a place to get started. And I appreciate you writing in. All right. Mina is going to be up next. Mina says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm curious to hear more about the relation between Candida overgrowth and digestive issues. I've always had digestive issues, heavy bloating and pain after eating, and noticed you mentioned that it could be related to Candida overgrowth. I always test positive for Candida albicans and have so for years, but my gynecologist has always said that it's very common and most people have it. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, I would love for you to do a couple things because I know that this is like the segue to getting healthier. And I love that. And I love to be able to help. So there's 3 different ways to go about this. One, I have a ton of podcasts just on digestion because so here's the thing. Your gynecologist is correct. Everybody has Candida, but Candida overgrowth is something that nobody should have. Right? And Candida overgrowth happens from alcohol, fried foods, inflammation in the intestines, birth control, antibiotics, et cetera, et cetera. So we want to be careful because you can get Candida overgrowth from that. Again, like literally they were supposed to prescribe Saccharomyces boulardii when they prescribe antibiotics. It's made in the medical literature and no doctor does it. So if you have a doctor that does that, well, props to them because that's very rare. Okay. So We can't undo the past, but we can change the future by fixing it in the now. So here's what we want to do. First things first, you can learn all about this by going to stephencabral.com/courses, and there's a course on how to fix your digestion. So anybody with bloating, gas, etc., it can be fixed. Acid reflux, it can be fixed. All those things can be fixed. I have a 4.5-hour course. It will cut your learning curve from a decade to 4.5 hours. Literally, that's it. Okay. Now let's say you want a free version. Go to stephencabral.com/podcast, click on the digestion podcast, and you can go through all of those. Okay. The third way is if you want a personal plan built for you, then you will run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, which is a simple at-home urine test that will actually look to see definitively if you have yeast and fungal-based overgrowth. Simple test, amazing test, over 70 different biomarkers for energy, mood, gut health, ketone bodies, vitamin levels, so much more. It's a phenomenal test. So you can find that at stephencabral.com/labs, or just go to stephencabral.com/shop, and you can just type in Candida metabolic vitamins test, and you'll find it. So, and then with that plan, you would actually then get with that lab that you test at, you take it home, simple urine test, mail it in. We pay for the shipping in the US, you mail it back, super simple. And then you get a plan that's built for you based on your results. So that's the most comprehensive. And you can run that with us. You can run it with a local naturopathic doctor if they specialize in gut healing, or you can run it with an integrative health practitioner at level 2. All right. That's it. You'll be able to figure that out for sure. For sure. Okay, can we get one more question in? We absolutely can. Amy says, hi, doctor. My HRV on my Oura Ring is in the 150s to 200s. Do you think this is a problem, and what do you attribute this to? If it goes woman to the 90s, is that a good thing or bad? So confused. Thank you. I don't know if it's supposed to say woman to the 90s, but I don't know. I don't actually know. But let's just talk about what I do know. You said it's in the 150 to 200s. Now, I can tell you for sure that a fraction of the population has an HRV in the 150 to 200 range. It's like, there's two reasons. One, you have phenomenal genetics, strong autonomic nervous system, strong mitochondria that we get from our mom, we pass those on, and you're doing great. So like that's one, okay? Now, number two is that your body is fighting something and your HRV is really high because of the greater amount of stress. That's much more rare. Now, if you maintain 150 to 200 on a daily basis, then most likely it's just a phenomenal heart rate variability. Now, even if your heart rate variability is at 25, it's still okay. What you want to look for, and what I always teach people, is over the course of a year, try to raise your HRV 10 to maybe 15%, maybe even 20%. That's what I've been able to do over the last 3 years. I've been able to add about 20 points, which is like crazy, to my HRV on an average daily basis over the course of, now it's going on almost 3 years. I teach how to do this inside of High Performance Health, but on the podcast, I don't hold back. I always share everything. I give you exactly what to do inside of High Performance Health for people that like to get, who like to really geek out on longevity, anti-aging, healthy biohacking, all those things. You can go to highperformancehealth.org. Not even a lot of people know about it, but that is like a high level group that I love working with. And you don't have to be high level. It's like you want to learn these things and then you become high level by learning all of these things. And so that's that. So if it goes from the 150s to 200s back down to the 90s, then for you, that's a big drop, right? It might be for someone else. Like if you go from a 30 HRV to a 15, okay, well, now your body's stressed. So what we need to do on our Oura Ring or your Apple Watch or your Hanu or any of these devices is to say, what's my average baseline? That's what you need to know. And then if it's higher one day, typically it means that, well, you're less stressed. You can actually add a little bit more load to the body if needed. And if it drops overnight, that means the body is dealing with a greater stress load, typically on the nervous system. So that next day, you don't want to necessarily overdo it. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. Thanks everybody for tuning into the show. I thank you. I appreciate you. Again, always share the show with anyone you believe it can help. And tomorrow I'll be back with our brand new week of the Cabral Concept, starting with the Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine,
wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.